Hello, this is Mohammed Bey. This is the first in what I expect will be a series of ongoing videos on my mini-series called Jartla, Jarlta, Just Another Reason to Leave America. And this first video is about a story I found in the Philadelphia Tribune for December 19th, 2018. It says PA proposes to predict black criminality. Now there's an image here, a photo, along with the article, and it says, if you can't read it, there are more African Americans in jail on probation or parole than were enslaved in 1850. Now, I'm not going to read the entire article to you, but I will read a bit of it, starting with the beginning, and make a few comments, and you can also see the entire article on a link which I'm going to put at the end of the video. But the purpose of this video is not merely to point out the story, which is also one that you can find online, but also to draw attention to the fact that every time black people try to do something, we protest, we march, we sit in, we create a new political movement like Black Lives Matter, or it's helped to be created by billionaires. And every time we get up on our hind legs and start complaining about the problems of America, the racism of America, the structural racism of America, the institutional racism of America, and we protest about this, we protest about that, we sit in here, we send in letters, we march on Washington, the establishment quivers a little. They make a few compromises, they make a few comments, they maybe change a few bits and pieces of the structure, but the overall foundation of racism continues. And every now and then they send up a trial balloon about something they want to do to black people. And my argument is that yes, black people do need to leave the United States. And yes, black people need to fight every day for our dignity in the United States. But at some point, we need to realize that what white people are telling us is that they don't really want you here. And I know a lot of people will say, well, this is our country. No, it isn't. This is something black people need to really get through their heads. America was never meant for us. We were brought here to do the work, and when the work ran out, and when they had no more justification, when the social media of the time in 1865, 1870 would no longer allow black people to be openly enslaved, every ingenious method was employed to reinstitute some form of slavery, some form of control. And every institution in the United States is dedicated to that proposition. Now I'm going to read a little bit of the article, but I want you to just follow along because I think you'll get the gist right away. The Pennsylvania Sentencing Commission plans to implement a risk assessment tool, or RAT assessment tool, that could punish young black men from the hood more than any other group. And the commission took one step closer to making that happen when it held a public meeting last Wednesday here in Philadelphia at the Juanita Kidd Stout Justice Center. The RAT program, or RAT program, which stems from a 2010 legislation mandate to reduce judicial bias and mass incarceration, could ironically increase both. Here's how. It's based on an algorithm, which is data designed to predict a result. And it's the data that's the problem, because the data includes age, gender, community, and employment status. In other words, because younger people are arrested and convicted more than older people, and males are arrested and convicted more than females, and poor people are arrested and convicted more than rich people, young black guys from poverty-stricken neighborhoods will be punished more harshly than anyone else. Now let's think about that for a second. Who else gets the short end of the stick in the United States but black people, poor people? Usually this is the case. I'm not going to sit up here and say that a proposal like this is somehow accidentally targeting black people. I believe, and I'm sure that you believe, that this is the case, that this is meant to use the black community again as a kind of cash cow. You know, 3 strikes and you're out wasn't accidental. All these laws, stop and frisk, and all these accidental shootings of black men and unarmed black men, and the subsequent acquittal of the white cops who commit these crimes is not an accident. I submit to you that this is exactly what it appears to be, a deliberate attempt to use the law and you know, the apparatus of American technology, not to mention the fears of white people, you know, that the blacks, you know, are going to you know, come into their neighborhoods and take over their housing and marry their daughters, as justification for, you know, new programs which continue to see black people as a commodity. Now, the article goes on for quite some time, but it does make an interesting point. It says, if you think I'm exaggerating about the inherent bias of the data, consider the fact that the Commission itself concedes its risk assessments are based in part on professional judgment, demographic factors, and employment. It goes on to say, whose professional judgment? Well, we know whose professional judgment it's going to be. It's going to be the professional judgment of white Americans, and any black people who happen to be involved in the process. Their opinions will probably be at best secondary. They'll be there for support. When the organization that's pushing this project gets ready to go on TV and talk about it, there'll be some white guy making the announcement and some black woman or some black guy standing off to the side, you know, nodding agreeably or something. But it goes on to say, whose professional judgment? Certainly not family members or community members or even extensively evaluated psychologists. What demographics? Meaning particular sectors of the population? Certainly not shoplifting and joyriding. Certainly not private schools in the suburbs or pill-popping privileged adult sons and daughters of insider trading CEOs. It goes on to say that in addition to the prior concessions, the Commission also admits that its risk scales are not perfect. Well, duh, that's certainly an understatement. This is the sort of thing that you get all over the United States. Throughout history in the United States, whenever black people got a little uppity in some way or started to make any kind of progress, white communities would always immediately at 2 in the morning or 3 in the morning or something get together and have a new ordinance or pass a new law. Now, this is just another one of these trial balloons. Again, you can read the entire article for yourself, because I'm not going to take up your time by reading the entire article. It's quite lengthy, but it has a lot of important details in it, and I've scanned the entire article for you so that you can see all the details. You may even be able to find a digital copy at PhillyTrib, which is www.phillytrib, which is PhillyTrib.com, and read the entire article for yourself. In any case, please be sure to share the article with your friends and family in the state of Pennsylvania. Again, this is the sort of reason that I say that black people should move out of the United States and move to African countries. As long as black people live in this country, we're going to be targets of this kind of nonsense, There's always going to be some good justification for why we should do this sort of thing to those people. And that's who we are in America. We're those people, the expendable people, throwaway people. And no matter how hard we try, as history has already shown, 150 years since the end of the Civil War, we have protested, marched, sat in, given lecture after lecture, written millions of articles, millions of speeches, given millions and millions of sermons in thousands and thousands of churches. We're still talking about the ravages of American-style racism in the first 20 years of the 21st century. You know what they say, that the sign that you are crazy is that you keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. I'm Mohammed Bey for the Jartla series, Just Another Reason to Leave America, signing off.